3, 2.
Good afternoon, everyone. I've had a couple of questions about zoodling, and I have to tell you, I just really like saying that word. We're making noodles out of zucchini. So this is a yellow zucchini, and I've used a couple green ones. But I want to talk a little bit about this piece of equipment, how to do it, and then show you a couple of ways to season them and combine them to make delicious and healthful meals. So first of all, if we bring the attention to the spiralizer, this is the one from Aldi's. This is new for me this year, and I kind of like that they have the blades actually on the equipment, but the truth of the matter is, for the price, this is a great investment. So I'm going to start by showing you how to do this. So the first thing I want to do is create a straight cut, extend, push that right on that little knob, and then we just turn. This is the fine blade. You can make them a little thicker, but this is really all there is to it. Those are lovely. So you can see there's a little core. I just eat that core. If you have a zucchini that's larger, maybe too large for this, you can cut it in half and do it in 2 pieces. If it's a zucchini that is bigger around, the inside seedy area is kind of mushy and doesn't really taste great for this application. So as it comes through, I usually just pluck that out and either save it for soup or put it in the compost. It's okay either way. So that's the process. That's all there is to it. We do eat the core. I just break it into little pieces, and then this tail end goes in the compost. So for now, we're going to get rid of that. That's all there is to that. The next thing that we're going to do with these is about 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and you're going to kind of massage it in. This is what's going to help pull the excess moisture out. I have found that trying to cook these mushes them up. They lose their integrity, and not salting them makes them a little brittle and harder to eat. And then we're just going to let that set for 10 or 15 minutes. I started a batch a little while ago. This is 2, about the size of the one that I just did, and you can see that it melts down and a lot of the liquid comes out of there. So that's it. I'm gonna pull a little bit of this out for one application. And then with the rest of this, I'm gonna cut. And these are my kitchen scissors, but this can be kind of difficult to eat because the whole zucchini is sometimes one strip. So I just cut it in bits to make it easier to consume. We're gonna squeeze it out. Squeeze it out. The other important point about this particular process is that I've found after I've salted them, they will keep in a container in the refrigerator for really 5 or 6 days. So even if you don't dress them right away, sometimes we just do this part without the dressing and the embellishments, and then day by day we decide what we want on them. All right. So I'm going to set those aside for a minute. And we're going to make the dressing. This is kind of an Asian-y dressing. It's very simple. I got it off Sun-Made Raisin website about 15 years ago. And I've modified it a little bit, but that's where we started. So it's basically 3 measures of vinegar, 2 measures of soy sauce, and 1 measure of sesame oil. And I'm using a tablespoon, 4 teaspoons. It's a little bigger than a tablespoon. This vinegar is vinegar that Joe made, so it's still got the mother in it, so we've got that healthy bacteria. 3, 2, 1. Two measures of soy sauce. And if you like this, we will oftentimes just make like a jar's worth and keep it in the fridge. 2, 1, and it's a very forgiving recipe. You can also use gluten-free soy sauce. And then 1 measure of sesame oil. So the soy sauce has a fair amount of saltiness to it, so we don't need to add any more salt. I am going to put a little bit of chopped garlic in there. You can put a little hot, and if raw garlic doesn't work for you, you can use garlic powder or anything like that. I'm just going to give it a shake. This is about maybe 3 cups of zucchini. I'm going to pour the dressing on. We have some chopped raisins. You can use the raisins whole, but I feel like chopped, they go farther. And these were really big raisins. And that's about 3 tablespoons. We're going to do about 3, maybe a 1/4 cup of peanuts. That's the kind of body to this salad. We're going to give it a little mix. Garnish. And then the next thing that we're going to put on are some peppers. There are these 2 types of peppers from the garden. Joe grew these. This one is particularly hot. This one has a fruity undertone. And I've chopped 1 of each, and we're going to sprinkle those on top. And that's ready to serve, ready to eat. So there's one variation of our zoodles. Next, we're going to move on. This is the one that we just did. What I've noticed about the yellow, and you can, the technicality, some people are very funny about names. This particular squash, the seed packet said yellow zucchini. Some people say, oh, it's summer squash. It's all summer squash. I frankly don't care what the name is. So I'm gonna take, stay where you are, Joe. Some green. So that's some of our green. I'm gonna cut this. This one's gonna have a little Italian feel to it. And this probably could sit a little bit longer, but that's all right. For demonstration purposes, it will be fine. I have found that the yellow ones keep their body a little bit better, whether you're cooking or doing this or stir frying. They just have a, like I say, they keep their body a little bit better. So we're gonna mix green and yellow, so we have that prettiness of both of them, kind of a Mediterranean feel. And instead of making our dressing, we're just going to use a zesty Italian. One of the girls at work was talking about that. So we're going to do a little zesty Italian. Now we're going to have some fun. When we're thinking Mediterranean, we want to work with, we've got some cucumbers cubed up. We have some tomatoes, and I'm very proud of this pretty bowl of tomatoes. They're all from the garden. We have some black crim. This is a miniature Roma tomato. This one's called a black cherry. This is a volunteer from something that I planted last year, so it's a cherry tomato, but it's a little bit bigger. This is called a super sweet 100, and this is called a currant tomato. And so there's a blend of all of these in here, and they've been cut so that the juice can continue to contribute to the salad. So we're going to go ahead and put these in. Isn't that looking delicious? You can put, if you want, a little garlic. We're going to put a little garlic in there because we like garlic. Again, if you're not a raw garlic person, that's okay. There are alternatives. I cut these onions a little bit different than I cut the ones that we put in the Asian salad. These are more like maybe a quarter of the round, where the others were diced. And what I really wanted for this, and what I would recommend for this, is a purple onion. And it was raining, so I didn't get out into the garden to get them. An onion is an onion, but the piece size contributes to the culinary experience. So the concentration of flavor, the amount of crunch, this contributes to the texture. We're going to put some capers in, and if you've never had capers, they're kind of briny and salty, pickly. Some olives, and you don't have to cut the olives up, you can leave them whole, and I did leave a few of those for garnish, but I find cutting them up distributes the flavor. So I'm going to hold our garnishes out and put the rest of these in. And some feta cheese, and I'm going to keep some of the feta again for garnish. You can reassess if you want a little more dressing. My goodness, my mouth is watering. Okay, now to plate this up, we have some butter crunch lettuce that we're just going to line the bowl with. my gosh, that's so pretty. And there's our Italian feel. Zoodles. This looks amazing to me. Lastly, we're gonna do kind of a version of a, some people call them Buddha bowls. I just call them a bowl. We generally use these platters, and Joe and I are both pretty big eaters, so this is what we do. So we've got a little bit of green and a little bit of red, or a little bit of yellow. And one of the things that are delicious about a bowl like this is that there's a lot of different colors and a lot of different flavors. And the objective is just to kind of make little piles of various delectables. And generally we try to make sure there's a lot of alternation of color. This is some shredded carrot. When there's just two of us, if we open a can of beans, we split the can of beans. So just some cucumber slices and a red tomato. These are some fermented pickled turnips that have been colored with a beet. And that's how easy that is. You can use salt, herbs, pepper, nuts, soy sauce, vinegar, whatever you want. So we spiralized 3 zucchinis, and we have 3 delicious dinners. Our bowl, our Asian slaw, and our Italian adaptation. Happy eating, and thanks for watching.